Welcome to the 6 month warning. If you were here for the pregame, you heard what Drew had said about coming to me and saying we have got to do a webinar on this, and that's a very accurate statement. The webinar is about some recent news articles and warnings that have been issued by very high level securities companies about coming cyber attacks, and the warning is literally within the next 6 months. So we're going to get into a little bit of detail about that, and also not just the digital vulnerabilities that you have with your assets, but ways that you can protect yourself, which is what we always focus on, is not just the risk, but also how can you take care of that risk. Drew, you want to drop the next slide? So the webinar is brought to you today. The info session is brought to you by the Wealth IQ Group. So a lot of you have said, oh, I don't know who Wealth IQ Group is, but you know one of the subsidiary companies. You came to us through, whether it was through the Complete Investor, Pulse of the Pit, Vici Trading. We have built a very curated network of elite companies. And I say we, there's a board who has basically decided who can be a part of this. And what we've done is identify the top minds in the industry who understand and come from the perspective of we want to help our customers. We want to do what's best to help our customers to deliver a product that or a service that is giving them the highest possible uh, uh, return on whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's automated trading, whether it's precious metals. And it's a lot of times it's just straight information, which is one of the things we're going to talk about today. Today is all about information. Can you grab the next slide for me, Drew? So one of the subsidiary companies that works with Wealth IQ Group is the Gold IQ Group. Gold IQ Group is actually who sponsored this event today. We call themselves the smartest minds in metals, which we love that term, but there is an intent behind that. And the intent was when Gold IQ Group was formed, the idea was to educate first and deal with the sales and everything else after. The idea being that if you deliver a proper education and you get clients to understand why they should do this right now, that there's no need to do a hard pressure sale or to do any of those things. And I hope you guys see that today as we talk. Gold IQ Group is a very elite group as far as what we do with working only with IRS approved depositories and all those things. But Drew's going to talk about all that later, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Just real quick on the disclaimer, Drew, can you jump back to that disclaimer? Very important, guys. This is for education purposes. You're going to hear that word said a lot. We very firmly believe that an educated customer is a good customer, and we want to make sure that we're delivering the best of that to you guys. I do stress we are not financial advisors. We're not giving you financial advice today. Any of the performance and things like that we talk about, guys, this is for education purposes. That is the intent of it. I urge you to take the information that we're giving you and to go out and do your own research. Verify what we're saying to you. We're telling it to you for a reason. We've done the research and we found that, and we believe that people should have this information. So it is for education purposes, but go out and verify it. Do your own research. Make sure that what we're telling you is accurate. Go ahead, Drew. And then last but not least, the guy who's going to take over the mic and who's going to go over the entire presentation is Drew Wilson. So guys, Drew is a 20 years in the financial industry. He's worked with investor grade metals analysis for the last 10 years. As he mentioned earlier, he also has a background in addressing digital security and basically, and I think the most important thing that you have on here, maybe second to being a decorated U.S. Marine with 8 years of service, is that you've helped thousands of people safeguard their retirement accounts. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Today is about safeguarding you, safeguarding your family and the money that you've worked so hard to earn. And Drew, I want to turn it over to you because I know you have a lot to cover today. Guys, one last little piece about Drew, okay? Those of you that have joined us before, you know this. Guys, Drew is exceptionally bright. He covers a lot of information in a short amount of time. If you have questions, if you want to dig deeper into this, you will have the opportunity to ask the questions here. Just put them in the chat, or you can schedule with Drew and do a one-on-one conversation afterwards. So Drew, take it away, sir.
Thank you so much, Michael. You always hold the best events, always curate the best information for people to help not only grow their wealth, but especially protect their wealth. And that's where I come in. I was talking to Michael last week, and we've kind of seen a pattern of information being released about security and vulnerabilities that it's now becoming so evident that we're going to be in a very bad situation if you're not protected. And when I say we, I mean all Americans, probably anyone around the world, but specifically Americans. And I'm going to go over those warning signs here in a minute. But here's the agenda for today. And then, can AI hack your retirement? Based on what I'm seeing, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen at a scale that will probably stun everybody. And again, you'll come to your own conclusion after we go over the details tonight. There is a new landscape of cybersecurity threats. The first big one that just came out was the Palo Alto warning. The title of this webinar, 3 to 6 months is their warning time. That not only are we going to see an acceleration of cybersecurity threats, but they're going to be much more damaging and ubiquitous, for lack of a better word. The mythos exposing vulnerabilities came out about 4 weeks ago. The warning and the government's reaction to it. The government's reaction to it, I think, is very telling, and I'm going to go over that. How do you protect yourself? Yes, you can actually do something. I don't like coming up with, problems, if you will, or exposing problems, if you will, without having a solution. I have a solution. And then also, how do you get gold and silver? And then we'll have a question and answer. And if you want to talk about your personal situation, you don't want to talk about it during this presentation, we'll drop my calendar in the link. You can have a no obligation meeting with me one-on-one. I'll answer any questions you have. I've been in gold since 2010, myself personally. I've been helping people protect their retirement accounts since 2016. My specific company, I am the founder and a managing partner of the Complete Investor at thecompleteinvestor.net. I am a board member of Wealth IQ Group, and I specifically advise on Gold IQ Group, the subsidiary, which is hosting this event. But I'm bringing up the website. Why? Because on my website, you can actually click on client reviews. Now, you can actually just search me. Now, these are ones I put up on my site, but you can type in Drew Urasek Gold in any search engine, and I only have 5-star reviews from my clients. And I've worked for 2 of the top 3 gold diggers in America before starting my company. So why do I only have 5-star reviews? I believe 3 reasons. Number 1, I educate first. I never put anyone in any position, and I never push anyone in any position without them being aware of what their options are. Then number 2 is I support your decision. I don't push you to do anything you don't want to do. You make the decision and I'll support you, whatever that is. And then 3, I make myself available. All my clients have my cell phone. You can call me day or night. And I am what's called a full service dealer. I'm a licensed dealer, full service. What does that mean? Well, first I want you to know there's only a couple hundred of us in the whole United States. I will actually be able to liquidate you. Not only can I get you in, I've got clients that have been with me for, a dozen years. They made 600-700% return on their money. You want to cash out? I pay fair market value, no discounts, no penalties, no fees. Heck, if you already have gold and you got a lot of it, I'll fly out to you. I'll cash you out in the comfort of your hometown. By the way, I don't know any other company that does that. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 2 ways you can actually get precious metals. I'm going to go over the features, benefits, and tax differences. But let's get into the presentation. Okay. I believe I do bring a unique perspective about this topic. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I went to college, got my degree. My first job was in technology working for AT&T. Okay, it was actually one of the baby bells, Ameritech here in Illinois. And I specialized in designing and selling local area and wide area networks, fiber optics, and using IP networks, right, internet protocol, to build these what's called soft scalable networks, right? Because before we sold these networks, we used fixed lines, right? There would just be a line from my office here in Chicago to my office in St. Louis, let's say. And it was a hard fixed line. It was protected. No one could go in there and mess with the data unless they severed the line, right? And try to take it in between transit, right? But once we got into internet protocol, the only thing protecting your data was the packets. And the packets were created in the modems and routers at location A and location B. And that's where we protected people's data, right? In the encryption. Well, it's gotten a lot more sophisticated than that, and it's gotten so big that you probably hear of all the companies out there, right? Palo Alto, CrowdStrike's a big one, Cisco's still around, still not as prevalent, but I want you to remember those three names: Palo Alto, Cisco, and CrowdStrike, okay? Now, this is what's crazy about the reported cyber crimes, and this is by the FBI. You can get this information on the FBI's website. Not only is it accelerating, do you see this big jump between 2023 and 2024? That's a 30% jump. Now, why aren't they posting 2025? Now, I used to work for the government. I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. Something you'll learn about the government: whenever the numbers look really, really bad, they postpone as long as they possibly can to release the data. I think it's probably doubled since 2024. That's my personal opinion. So it jumped 30% from 23 to 24. I bet it went up almost double between 24 and 25. That's just my personal opinion, okay? Now, what's the cost? Now, this is getting crazy. We are now, the global losses of cybersecurity losses, threats that have actually cost money, is now almost 3 times more revenue than the entire United States produces in taxable revenue. So more revenue than our country even takes in by almost 3 times. That's crazy, and it's only going to accelerate. And who do you think pays for these losses, by the way? That's what I want you to know. Who do you think pays for the losses when a business is hacked and these losses are, or the governments are hacked and these losses are realized? We do as consumers. All of our costs go up, right? Absolutely. Insurance goes up. Every bit of our livelihood goes up in cost. And I want you to remember that. Now, Palo Alto, remember I told you to remember 3 companies? Palo Alto is the oldest besides Cisco, and they started getting really good at not only building these barriers, right, at the router level, but they also started building protocols internally to do what's called proactive searches for threats, okay? It's an external scanner for looking for threats that are before they get inside the business, okay? And they also came up with some pretty cool protocol before anybody else to do searches for vulnerabilities inside of your network, okay? CrowdStrike got in the game, and they wanted to make they wanted to make competition, or at least take advantage of the opportunity, because cybersecurity became such a big market. CrowdStrike used to guarantee against losses. They would actually say, we'll pay for any losses your company receives due to cybersecurity threats. They stopped doing that within 1 year of being in business. Now, the last company I actually worked with and helped build their network, and one of my customers was the state of Oklahoma, who I still know, the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. He's actually going to be retiring soon. He told me that no longer do we look for threats to stop them before they get in our network, because we know we're going to have people get into our network. What we do now is try to stop them as fast as possible once they get in, and then replicate the operating system as fast as possible on a completely separate network and kill this network here. Boom, gone. So no longer do they say, hey, in Palo Alto, you can look up the articles they have and press releases they have on this. And again, CrowdStrike no longer guarantees, repayment or losses, recovery of losses from cybersecurity threats. They'd stopped that a long time ago. But now they say you have to prepare to be hacked. You will be hacked internally. No longer can they say, I'll stop you before they enter your network. And I want you to keep that in mind, because this is the scariest thing, that AI is going to accelerate these threats. You should now expect to be hacked. That's my personal belief.
Drew,
Go ahead.
one thing, Drew, and I think, and at least this is my experience with it, and I can't speak for everybody else that's on the info session today. Um, Palo Alto Networks is not a household name. And when you had mentioned this to me when we first talked about it, look, I'm an investment banker. I don't know that side of the industry at all. I'm the first person to raise my hand and say I don't know it. So of course, what did I do? I went to my trusty Google and I started looking up who they were and reading about who they were. And number one, I didn't realize they are the largest standalone cybersecurity company in the world. Okay, that's number one. They are trusted by, aside from many of the governments, including the US government, they work hand in hand with the FBI and everybody else. They are trusted by Google. They are trusted by Meta. They are trusted by all these companies that we look at and say, this is the top of the top of the top. Well, they're turning to Palo Alto Networks for their cybersecurity. So when a company like Palo Alto Networks comes out with hey, there's a 3 to 6 month time horizon on this, our internal antenna should skyrocket. That should be a hold on, wait a second. This is the best of the best of the best saying this. And I have to say it. I didn't realize that's who they were. That's just coming from me personally. I didn't realize that's who they were. The second thing you said, which I think is extremely important, is I think we all have this impression of the shield, right? We think of cybersecurity as, well, I have this shield and it's an armor that's going to protect me from people coming in. They've actually come out and said that there's an expectation that they're going to get in. It's how you do damage control that's more important.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway I want everyone to realize now, that if the best of the best is saying you can no longer keep the threats outside of your network, you have to prepare for them to be in your network, do damage, and you just got to stop the damage as fast as possible. Replicate your operating system offsite or in another system, and then transfer over as fast as possible without having loss. Yeah, and that's it's a big. I don't know if you guys think of that, because we never built networks like that when I was out. We just said, hey, we can stop everybody from getting in. That was our mentality. Stop everyone from getting in. Now the mentality is, okay, they're going to get in. So as soon as we notice they're in, how fast can we shut them down, right, and limit the damages? Now, you can read the bullet points here. This is the problem with technology right now, because this has never happened before. We have two things that are going to accelerate these cybersecurity threats faster and more fervently than we ever thought possible. Unlimited processing, right? Quantum computing with unlimited intelligence, artificial intelligence. So these two things are what's going to accelerate beyond anyone's ability to fathom how bad it can get. And the number one security network operating system and hardware and software, Palo Alto Networks, is saying it's going to get bad, and we got 3 to 6 months to prepare. Okay? Now, there's also another warning. Now, this one is, we did a little bit of a teaser in our webinar, and not because I didn't want to cover it. I just didn't have enough information. And now it's becoming a little more, clear exactly what happened. So Mythos is a software update or a logic update or operating system update, AI operating system update for Claude. Okay. Claude is a large language model. They have a bunch of different releases. This one specifically has everyone scared because it immediately shows vulnerabilities in operating systems. Now, have you ever gotten, my phone is plugged in. Have you ever got to your phone and you try to open an app like Starbucks and you're about to pay and it says you got to update? right? Or you're about to pay a credit card bill and it says you got to update your software first. That's the number one way hackers get into people's systems are the updates. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but operating systems all day long are fixing bugs. That's the number one thing that they're doing all day long is saying, oh, I got a bug to fix. This new update made a mistake and now reads a file incorrectly, so I got to do an update. And these updates are the vulnerabilities that allow for hackers to get in to the system, or one of the ways they do that. Well, this Mythos release shows every operating system's not only current vulnerabilities, but also potential vulnerabilities based on updates they might have down the road. So it gives time and it almost gives a blank check to any hackers to say, here's a company's operating system. Not only here are the current vulnerabilities that I can hack right now, but also based on their operating model, these are potential openings in the future. And now imagine you've got unlimited artificial intelligence growing exponentially in how smart it is, right? And unlimited computing power, like in quantum computing, meeting at this apex and having the ability to say, look at all of the openings, the holes. And by the way, I'm talking about every operating system from Microsoft to Google to your banking system to your brokerage system. And this is the scary part. When Mythos was released 4 weeks ago, the Treasury Secretary, the Federal Reserve Chairman, and the Commerce Secretary all got together and got on the phone, and you can look this up, emergency phone call with all major banks saying, watch out. And they made and kind of forced Claude to only release the Mythos software, or update, I should say, to their large language model to only 7 companies. But they're already saying if Claude has it, other large language models have to be coming out with it soon. Nobody's operating in a vacuum anymore. Everyone's going to have access to these same things. And what's that going to do is it's going to allow a person with very little resources, a bad actor with very little resources, to act like a super hacker, like almost like a state-run entity, right? Because it's going to have unlimited power at a very low, if not no cost at all to them. So the biggest threat now is not protecting yourself because you're going to get hacked. I mean, that's at the end of the day. Oh, I went too many slides.
Well, and
In my
something else there
opinion,
too,
what's that?
something else there too is, can you jump back to the Mythos screen? Because
Yep.
there was two things that, we teased this conversation. You say teased, but I mean, we were doing the research. This was a while ago,
Yeah, about
about
4 weeks
Project
ago.
Glasswing,
Yep.
about Anthropic's release. And, it's funny because after that webinar, I had actually had a couple people reach out to me and say, how is this not bigger news than it is? And they're right. I think there's been a dampening of it because to control the fear, in my opinion. There's a lot of controlled media that way, and I believe that may or may not have been what the issue is, but it is a serious factor to the level that a lot of brokerages have already changed their disclaimer languages.
Oh yeah.
Um, on scale. And I urge you guys, go check your SIPC and FDIC coverage language. I can tell you right now, if you're at Wells Fargo,
Schwab. I
Bank of
read my
America,
Schwab. Yeah.
yeah, they all of them have changed their protection language in specifically because of Mythos. And it's shocking because that language has been there for 20 years. And it's suddenly, I mean, the last Sarbanes-Oxley, I think, was the last major change to it. And this is shocking to me, the fact that it happened that quickly and has led to that much change in that short of a time horizon. Um, and I think the other factor with it when you're talking about this is, they've I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a really cool curve that's called the technological advancement curve. And it talks about how technology has been through an accelerated change and that the change is so dramatic in the last 20 years than the last 10 years that, the last 20 years have been the same change of the 100 years prior to it. And then so the last 10 years has been more than the prior 40. And then so it's accelerating so quickly.
Yeah, you can
And
look up Moore's law and how
I think
Moore's
that's what
law
it
is
is.
now broken. Yeah, because Moore's law
Yeah.
used to be computing power doubled every 18 months. Now it's like crazy how much it's accelerated.
And they're saying that this technology is accelerating so quickly that to a degree, because now it's teaching itself that we can't even keep up with it.
Well, it's 24
And
hours a day, 24 hours a
that's
day, getting smarter every second and computing faster every second. That's the problem. And so by the way, Claude Anthropic is the actual company. Claude is the large language model, and the variant is Mythos. So I apologize if I was saying Claude when I meant to say Anthropic. But you can protect yourself, okay? You can actually own physical assets in your retirement account. You can take any cash you have and buy gold direct if you want to do that as well. There's two ways to buy gold, okay? You can buy it with, again, IRA money or with any cash you might have on hand. Now, something about traditional IRAs people don't understand. And this is what you were saying, Michael, about the language of disclosure changing about 4 weeks ago when the Mythos release came out. There's no insurance. You can look at the bottom of any statement page on any IRA, Schwab, Edward Jones, Empower, and you'll see these words. These investments have no insurance. They can lose 100% of the value. By the way, do you know why there's no insurance on your investments inside of your IRA? Because you don't own them. You have beneficial interest. You see, we went to a fractionalized banking system, or brokerage system, just like we have a fractionalized banking system about 2000, 2002, right? So you no longer actually own the assets that are in your account. You have beneficial interest, so they can't insure something you don't own. Now, they do have SIPC insurance, but that only covers you if the brokerage goes insolvent. And it doesn't cover you for cybersecurity threats. And again, the language now is even more defining how much they will not pay if you are hacked. And then
And
also,
that's been the big language change. That's been the big language change. The major language change was the definition that they will not protect you if you are hacked. That's been the number one change. And
now,
that to me is a massive thing.
yeah, and gold in an IRA, guess what? It's 100% insured. You can take any money that you have, by the way. Most people don't know this. If I talk to 100 investors, 99 do not know this. You can take any money that you have and tax-free, penalty-free, move it into gold. You can take any money that you have in a qualifying 401k or IRA and tax-free, penalty-free, move it into gold. You lose no value. And it's 100% insured. Why? Because number one, it's physical. And number two, you actually own it. It's 100% insured with all risk coverage. And physical gold. Here's the fun thing. Physical precious metals, gold and silver, are not taxed the same as paper assets. Not taxed the same as stocks, not taxed the same as bonds, mutual funds, annuities, or even cryptocurrency. And guess what, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot hack a gold coin. You can't hack a physical gold coin. And also, here's a little secret. You can actually own coins that are deemed non-reportable. You heard me right. There's actually an IRS provision called non-reportable coins, which means while you own them, you don't have to report to anybody that you'd have them. Now, again, there's two. I'm going to pop out real quick. There's two ways to own gold. Okay, you can actually buy gold direct. You can take any cash you have and turn it into gold. You can say, hey, Drew, I want to get gold. It's the simplest thing you'll ever do. You open up a cash account with us. If you put your order in the morning, you're getting the gold in 1 to 2 days in your hands, fully insured. I don't know, by the way, I don't know of any other company that delivers that fast. I still to this day, there's companies out there that quote as much as 4 weeks and more to get your gold in your hands, fully insured in 1 to 2 days. And then you can also get gold in your retirement account. Now, why might you want to get gold in your retirement account? We are now nearing $40 trillion in debt. Every time we borrow money as a country, the chance of default goes up, not down. And the reason why gold is so powerful is because it's not tied to our debt. It's got its own sovereign value and is globally recognized. So our government defaults has nothing to do with your gold. As a matter of fact, there's a couple great books out there that say, before a currency fails, before a country goes broke, there's a pattern of behavior. The wealthiest people buy up all of the physical assets, gold and real estate. Central banks last year, the central banks, the banks that run all the world's money, right, bought more gold last year than they have in 55 years. Little writing on the wall for you. Also, big hedge funds, right? BlackRock, right? Vanguard. They're buying up so much residential real estate right now that Congress is trying to pass a law. Right now, you can look it up. That does not allow big funds like BlackRock and Vanguard to buy residential real estate because they're buying up so much residential real estate. Again, little writing on the wall. Now, I do get people from time to time, and this is important, that say, Drew, I'll just get paper gold. I'll get GLD, the ETF. It's been around forever, right? Number one, GLD is not real gold. It does have gold in it, and they do have gold stores. But number one, it's not one for one. If it was, here, I'm going to show you something. If it was one for one, all right, here's gold, GLD. Well, it says it's $416.99. Well, gold is going for, sorry, my computer's a little slow, $45.36. Why wouldn't it be $4,536? Oh, well, they made it 1/10. Okay. Are you getting 1/10 the amount of gold? No, you're not. Because every year they have a president, they have employees, they have an office, they pay a commission to every fund that has GLD in it, right? So every 401k out there, every mutual fund that has GLD in it gets a commission for having GLD in it. So they can't have one for one gold. They can't even have a fraction. And they lose value every year because the gold they do have, they have to sell to pay for their fees. So you're not getting, not only are you not getting one for one gold, it's devalued every year it's in existence by a fraction of a percent because, again, they have costs, they have overhead, and they have payments to make. Also, has anyone here heard of counterparty risk? Now, I'll let you take this one, Michael. You're the lawyer by education. What is counterparty risk?
Well, hold on a second. Before we get there, can we grab something else?
Sure.
I mean, so you hit a couple of really important things here, and I want to be clear with this. I hear this all the time, all right? And when you talk about paper gold, I think it's so important. Yes, it's easy to get in and out of. Yes, you can move with it, but there's a reason why it's easy to get in and out of. Okay. It doesn't have any of the protections that you're talking about. And that has to be crystal clear to people. This is not about trading because I know a lot of people here, I recognize a lot of these names. They're traders. Guys, understand this is not about trading. Okay. This is not a trading webinar. This is not about buying low and selling high. Yes, of course, that's the intent, right? Buy low and sell high, but not in a 2-week period or a 1-week period or a 1-day period. This is about protecting yourself and longer term plays. Okay, protecting yourself over a longer term play. And I don't think we ever said that, so I just want to be crystal clear with that.
Yeah, so owning physical precious metals, definitely, and I actually was going to cover that in number 2. But what I wanted to let everyone know is paper gold, or actually any investment that you make inside of a brokerage, has what's called counterparty risk. You're basically signing
You
off.
want me to do counterparty risk?
Yeah,
I'll
please
do
go.
counterparty. I'll give you the best legal definition. So counterparty risk is the idea that there's two parties to a transaction, and that it's the idea that the other party can default. And one of the problems with stock and bonds or any of those is you are dependent on the other party not defaulting in those in order for you to have value in what you purchased. So, for example, if you buy stock in something like um, uh, Citigroup or
NVIDIA.
Nvidia, right? You're dependent on Nvidia's performance for you to have value. Whereas when you buy something like gold, there is no dependency on that value. Gold has an inherent value to it. There's no counterparty risk. And it's one of, by the way, gold and well, precious metals in general are one of the few assets in any way that don't have counterparty risk. And
And
that's a really
and
important
and I just want to make it even simpler. It means they don't have to pay you if we have some kind of liquidation event where goes out of business. You don't get the gold.
Yeah.
Right? So again, you just got to realize it's not gold, and it doesn't have the same tax differences. It doesn't have all the 100% all risk coverage insurance policy. It doesn't, it's digitally held. So, right, it can be hacked, right? Physical gold is obviously you can't hack a physical gold coin. Now, another big myth that people have is that, hey, getting into physical gold is difficult. It is the simplest thing to get into. It does take a little while to get in, a little while to get out, but nothing terrible. And it's because it's insured. It actually gets inspected. When you buy investment grade physical precious metals, it takes 10 minutes to open up the account. 10 minutes. Your name, address, phone number, your beneficial interest information, right? Beneficiary. 10 minutes to open the account. About a week to 10 days to move money into the account. Again, tax-free, penalty-free. Once the money's in the account, you and I go online. I actually share my trade desk screen with you. I show you everything available to you. Gold, silver, coins, bars. Heck, there's even platinum and palladium. You pick out what you want. You're in charge. Michael, I don't even know, still to this day, after almost a decade of doing this, actually now going on 16 years, I still don't know of another company that shows our competitors' pricing. I'll actually show you the competition and their pricing so you know you're getting a good deal, okay? You pick out what you like. Once you select the metals you want, it takes about 24 hours to 48 hours to fulfill the order. Then the metals are shipped to the depository you pick, nearest you, and that's where they go to get stored. Now, these are non-bank, non-federal institutions. They have nothing to do with our banking system. Our banking system could fail, have nothing to do with your gold. Has nothing to do with our federal government. Federal government could fail, has nothing to do with your gold. It just meets the strict guidelines of our federal government. Why? Because they want their taxes. Once it gets to the vault, it goes under white glove inspection, x-rayed, ultrasound, fully insured, and stored in your section of the vault. And there it sits until you take it out. Now, you can go visit it anytime you want, just like go into a bank lockbox, run the gold through your fingers if you want. You got point and click access to your gold anytime you want. You click a button, you can have the gold delivered to your house. Now, you do pay your taxes at that time, but remember, not taxes the same as paper assets. Or you can liquidate. Click a button. Oh, I want to sell some coins. I have a client that made like 700% return on his money. Clicked a few coins because he wanted to buy an office building, which he also bought inside of his retirement account. Pretty cool feature of a physical asset retirement
trick
account.
Of those self-directed IRAs, yeah.
Right. So he clicked on the coins he want to sell. I got a phone call. I go, okay. I'll give him a quote, fair market value, no discounts, no penalties, no fees. And this is really cool. Check this out. Coins just moved from your section of the vault to our section of the vault. We wire the cash same day. Nothing could be simpler, okay? Now, and again, that kind of answers number 3's myth, right? Hard to liquidate. Simplest thing, and again, being a full service dealer, I'm able to do that. And again, there's probably, I'm going to guess 200 total in the entire country that are full service dealers like us. We'll take care of you on the front end, take care of you on the back end. And again, one of the reasons I have 5-star reviews only is because I make myself available to you. You have access to me basically 24 hours a day if you want. And that's it. Again, the 2 ways we went over, you can get it in your IRA. Now, some people have cash. I actually had a gentleman that got money, gold in his IRA. He goes, but man, I really would like to have some of my house too. Again, in your hands in 1 to 2 days. Nobody delivers gold faster, safer, more effectively than us. Now, if you have questions, I'll take those questions now, or feel free to meet with me. My calendar's up to date. We're going to put in, yeah, they're in, check the chat. That's my calendar. It's up to date to this second. If you click a time, it's yours. I'll give you a call. I have a no obligation whatsoever talk. I'm very frank and open with you. I had a gentleman just the other day. I said, guess what? Goal's not right for you. I probably say that at least a dozen times a month because it's not right for everybody. People that, hey, I only trade my account, right? I don't have any money that I want protected. I want it always producing. Hey, probably not right for you, right? But if you have money that you want to protect, especially against all these new and upcoming threats, right? You might want to take a look at it. As a matter of fact, real quick side note, Michael, I think you remember the quote. It was just a few months ago. The CIO, and you can look this up, the Chief Information Officer or Investment Officer, Chief Investment Officer of Morgan Stanley, Mike Wilson, if memory serves me correct, I think he said he recommends that you have at least 20% physical precious metals in your
and he has
holdings.
no incentive to say that. They don't make any money at Morgan Stanley with precious metals, hard assets, unless they buy it as a paper asset. So him saying that should be a real indicator of the situation that we're in. Drew, it's funny too. With Wealth IQ Group, Drew and I do a lot. We work with real estate investors, we work with real estate, we work with gold, we work with trading education and trading companies. We kind of run the gamut of all these things. And as I've been picking this and talking to different people about this topic, one of the things was, you know, um, how do you how do you incorporate this with real estate and with everything else? You know, there's a myth with real estate that, it's a buy and hold asset that you can sit back and have to do nothing. Look, if you've ever owned an apartment building or rental, anything like that, you guys know there's work involved. The beautiful thing with gold is that you've made the acquisition, you have all the security and protections that we've talked about. So I'm not going to go back over those. But not only that, you can liquidate it when you need to. There's a viable market for it day in and day out. You don't have to post it like you do with real estate and wait for 60 days to have a closing. Okay. Yes, you can ride the market, and I'm gonna drop a teaser, Drew. And I'm sorry I didn't ask you for permission to do this beforehand. So we are working on a product that will have both hedging for the gold and the gold acquisition as a one-stop shop. So you'll be able to hedge your gold using a automated hedging software and be able to acquire the gold all in one shot. Now, it will require a little bit more significant of a purchase. You can't do that with a $10,000 purchase, but I say that just as a teaser out there, guys. That's the way we're thinking right now. We're thinking that this is a significant move because of all the reasons that we just gave you, and we want to be able to deliver to you an aggregation of all the different composites and tools that we have at our disposal. So, just as a teaser, that is something that we're working on.
If you
Um,
want to find out more, schedule time with me. We
Schedule
can
with
talk
Drew, and he'll
about the
talk you through it.
development of that. It's very proprietary. I don't know of
We're the
any other
only people
company
that
that's
do it.
developing it right now. The brightest minds in trading options and futures is creating it with some of the best technology available, and only going to be released to our personal clients. So if you want to find out more about that, go ahead and schedule time. Yeah, I'm surprised Michael, actually, the lawyer that he is, actually brought that up because we got non-compete, non-disclosures out there.
I got all the approvals that I needed for it. So I do feel very comfortable teasing.
That's good.
It's an easier product to do than I thought it would be. But
Cool.
guys, if you listen today, and by the way, I mentioned earlier for those of you guys to start, if you were here in the pregame, there will be an email following this up with a copy of the recording. Go back and rewatch the information about the AI. Share it with your significant other. and people that you care about, I urge you to share it with them because, yes, we do the gold promotion with this, but understand that's who sponsors this. This is about you guys and protecting you. We're doing this to help you, we're doing this to protect you. Do the same for the people you care about. Share it with people that you care about. Share it with somebody that could be affected by this because it's coming. It's a question of time now, and when it happens, you want to make sure that you've done everything you can to protect yourself and protect your family and your assets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of taking the main the or sorry the I'm taking the same stance as I think like Palo Alto. It's we're going to get hacked. You just got to be prepared to minimize damage and protect what you've built and worked so hard for. And I can't think of a better way to do that than get into precious metals, at least something. You don't want to be in all digitally held assets going into the end of this millennia, if you will, or decade. I apologize.
Yeah.
2030 is coming up fast, and with this threat of saying, hey, 3 to 6 months is all we got before things really start accelerating. I'm preparing for the worst.
Man. Well, guys, I didn't see any questions in there. Drew's scheduling link is there, and I also put his email address if you just want to write to him directly and ask him questions. He's very responsive. It does not get buried, and his emails don't get buried. So schedule with him or reach out there. And as I said, there'll be an email following this up. Thank you all for spending the time with us this evening. Drew, as always, you're amazing, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. See you guys.